I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I just feel like I can't move my body. It'll just get better, right? It's just been holding it together for so long. I'm just not feeling it today. So, this video you guys just watched right now was me crying after taking the pills that I said I wouldn't be taking. And these pills were the Mirabetric pills that my urologist suggested for me back in, I think it was like April. And I personally just wanted to kind of like experiment with this pill at a certain point, because I just kept wetting myself, and guys, I hated it. I hated it so much. It would drive me crazy, and I was like, you know what, maybe I could experiment with this, because maybe it'll work, and if it works, then that'd be great, right? But I held on to this prescription, and I just never thought to go and get the pills. And that was the hardest part for me, because I held on to the prescription, and it was like I was contemplating on whether or not I wanted to take these pills, and I didn't. And I decided not to take it, but then I held on to the prescription because I personally just felt like maybe I'd just change my mind in like 2 months from now, in which I did. I had to take 1 pill a day. I had like 5 refills, and which is what scared me, if I had to be completely honest with you, because each bottle had like 60 pills, and that was pretty much enough for an entire year with 5 refills. And it's just that whole part of it was just really scaring me, but at the same time I just wanted to experiment with this pill my urologist suggested, because I'm like, you know what, maybe she's right. Maybe this pill will actually stop me from just wetting myself, right? So the video you guys just watched right now, it was me crying in the morning because I just felt like I couldn't move my body. I just wasn't having it in the morning. I woke up and I just felt so miserable. And this was about, I would say, like 2 days after taking the pill as well. And guys, if I had to be completely honest with you, not once have I cried about something I couldn't do since being diagnosed with MS. Like, really. Like, I've cried a few times in my videos, but in terms of feeling like I couldn't do something, I just never felt. Like, I always felt so positive about everything, because just being positive just put me at a better mindset kind of thing, right? But taking these pills, I was aware that one of the symptoms were anxiety and just feeling anxious, and it also said confusion. That's exactly what I was feeling. I was feeling so anxious. I was feeling so confused about everything. And when I say I was feeling anxious about everything, I'm talking about my career. Like, I'm done my 4th year of university. I'm 21. I turned 22 this year in November. And I should be done school right now, but I'm staying back a year because I'm behind like 6 courses. And yes, I blame MS for that. I'll honestly get into that, maybe even in my next video, of how MS has really just ruined everything with school. And how I've just learned to just cope with it, kind of thing. Being on those pills, right? I felt like I was crying about every little thing. Like, I just felt like I was such a sad person. And I even emailed my nurse about it. I was like, after taking the 3rd pill, which was my 3rd day of taking the pills, I told my nurse, I was like, these pills don't make me feel good. I'm going to stop taking it. And she wasn't against it or anything, but, you know, I just let her know so that she could document it. And this wasn't until the 3rd day of taking these pills that I realized things were just going a little off. Because after my first day of taking the pills, one thing I've also noticed was my stool. So my stool, honestly, skip the next minute if you don't want to hear about my stool. But, my stool, guys, it was hard. It was like hard circles. And I guess it was bittersweet in a way, because when I would, you know, go number 2, Like, I wouldn't necessarily stain my underwear. It would more so just be like laying eggs in my underwear, like literally, guys, which is weird because I'm allergic to eggs, but it was just one of the analogies I just thought of right now. But it literally felt like that, right? And I just thought it was weird. And also, when I was on prednisone prior to getting my first infusion, for those of you who don't know, prednisone is a steroid, and this was the steroid I had to take because my doctor didn't know what kind of MS I had. And this steroid, I had to take 100 steroid pills in the span of 5 days, so I pretty much took 20 in a day. And I think about it now and I feel so gross. I literally feel like, oh my god, I wonder what that actually really did to my body. And the whole concept of it really scares me. So my stool was something else that I also started to notice aside from feeling anxious, where I was like, okay, I need to stop taking these pills because it's not making me feel good. The next thing that happened was at work, I actually walked into the bookshelf. I'm gonna post kind of like a picture of the bruise I had and like just a few pictures in the next clip so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So as you guys just saw, like I've had a pretty big bruise just for walking into a bookshelf, not even falling down. And for those of you who checked out my last video, the scar I got on my hand over here, it's literally healed. There's nothing there. You can't even tell I fell down over there. It's really weird. Like, it's like it healed very quickly, but this incident happened prior to taking the pills. But as soon as I took the pills, that bruise I just showed you guys right now, that bruise took about 2 weeks to heal. And it was much longer than this bruise, which was weird because the bruise I had on my hand, if you guys haven't watched my last video, was pretty bad. And if that healed faster on its own, how is it that the bruise that I got on my thigh didn't heal correctly, or like it just took even longer to heal? And why is it that I got bruised over walking into something? Like, I walk into things all the time and I don't get bruised, right? That happened, and I honestly, at first I didn't think anything was wrong with that. But then when I went to bed that night, I was like, okay, I feel like something's a little off. As I started to get a little nervous because the moment I bruised myself, what was I wearing? I was wearing tights, and I actually felt a bit of pain on my thigh, which was really weird because for me, guys, my thighs have been numb. So the fact that I even felt pain, I thought that was weird. So I just went to the bathroom to see what was going on because I was being so paranoid. And when I checked my thigh, I noticed that it was purple. And I was like, what? So at this point, guys, I was a little nervous, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to email my nurse because maybe it has something to do with these pills, and I'm aware that my nurse told me to let her know of anything that pops up because just in case, right? Because I am on Ocrevus, and which is my drug, and she's told me from time and time again how I should let her know of any changes that come up because she needs to document that. So what I did was I told her what happened and whatever, and I even sent her a picture. And she went and talked to my doctor, and my doctor immediately booked a hematologist appointment for me. And it's crazy because when my nurse emailed me, I was at work, and she emailed me again, so I thought it was a little urgent. So I was like, you know what, let me just check out this email. So I looked at the email, and she was telling me how my doctor has booked a hematologist appointment for me tomorrow, and she was apologizing that it was very last minute, and how she really hopes that I can make it. I kind of got freaked out, right? But then it just got worse. She just emails me again. Tells me to call her, but before she even tells me to call her, she tells me that the hematologist is also at Sunnybrook in the Cancer Death Center, and I lost it. I was literally freaking out at this point because I was in the room and literally tears just started going down my face. I was like, Okay, so I was told I had multiple sclerosis, and now I'm told I have cancer. What's next? A tumor? Like, I was like, guys, I didn't know how to process that because I was still trying to get used to MS. So being told that I don't know, having this misconception that I had cancer just because I had to go to the cancer center, it was very misleading. So I was literally crying, and then my manager walks in to talk to me about something so irrelevant, something about a shift for the next day. And I was so, like, I felt so stupid for crying, but I didn't even want to turn around and look at her and talk to her. And I think at that point, I think she was like, why isn't she turning around? And I turned around, and she looks at me, and she goes, oh my god, I'm like talking so much, are you okay? And I was crying. I was like, honestly, everything is just really, like, frustrating me today. I'm just so, like, I'm trying to hold it together. I was just telling her how, I didn't tell her what was happening, but I was just telling her how everything, it was like, I was just getting really stressed out, and that's what I was basically telling her. And, she was aware that it had to do with my health. And she was like, okay, you know, she came closer to me and, like, made sure I was okay. And I was okay. It's just, I was just tearing up because I was freaking out, right, at this point. And I called my nurse. The nurse was also telling me how the hematologist made my nurse email me to tell me I didn't have cancer, because I guess a lot of our patients have always been worried that they had cancer just because the hematologist was in the cancer center. So guys, it wasn't in my head. Like, I wasn't overreacting. I actually thought I had cancer, but no, I didn't, thankfully. And I had like a sigh of relief. I went to my hematologist, asked me a bunch of questions and whatnot. And I was even telling her about how I was eating vegan and how it's been working great for me. And how I was also telling her how I wanted to do a blood test to see if I'm low on anything, because I feel like it could be that, and maybe that's why I bruised this quickly. And she was telling me, she goes, you know what, it could actually be that. But she was also telling me how she does not think it was my infusions that made me bruise this quickly. And guys, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was my infusions either. I honestly believe it was the pill. But she was also telling me how this pill that I was taking, she didn't believe that it was that pill that really bruised me that bad. And she actually walked out of the room because she told me that she was going to go and check to see my blood work over the course of the year. And apparently my blood levels dropped since October of 2018. So, which meant I was low on my pallets. I'm thinking of makeup. I was low on my platelets. And my nurse also told me I was low on my platelets too, but I didn't really know what that even meant, right? But it was basically meant I was low on my blood cells or whatever. So yeah, so my hematologist, she basically, at the end of everything, she did a blood test. So I actually wrote this down on my paper because I needed a script for this video. She tested my B12, my iron, my hemoglobin, and my platelets. The hematologist was basically emailed me to tell me that everything seemed normal. And how my red blood cells seemed to be doing even better. But those pills, oh my goodness, I feel like, lesson learned. I honestly did have my doubts taking this pill that something was going to go wrong, but it was still nice to see that, kind of like experience firsthand of what kind of effects this pill would have had on me. And these pills, like, they weren't that great. It was just kind of like reassured me that I wasn't wrong for believing that these pills weren't going to work. Because another thing I forgot to mention was my bladder. Like, I know I only took the pills for 3 days, and maybe that wasn't enough time to really notice more improvements. But I was still wetting myself. Like, it was I don't know, like, guys, it's been like 3 years now. I'm tired of waiting. I don't want to wait anymore. And I feel like for those of you who also have MS or just have some other kind of disease, I feel like you guys would get me on this one. Like, it's annoying having to wait for something bad to happen. At the end of the day, I don't regret taking these pills, because in a way I also learned that medication is not always going to be the way out, you know, like the easy way out. And I was aware of that. I just wanted to experiment. And another thing I wanted to mention was the amount of support I've been getting recently from people I don't even know, from people who also have MS or people who have just been so supportive has honestly, guys, been so amazing. So if you've been one of those people who've just even left a comment or like subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. It honestly means so much to me. I didn't realize opening up about having MS and kind of like sharing my journey with you guys would make me feel less alone. Like, I'm more aware that people go through similar things to me, and it's just amazing with all the support I've got, and just this whole MS community has been amazing, and it just makes me smile so much. I love knowing that there's people out there that are so supportive and who are just going through similar things to you, and you're just not alone. Like, I'm not alone, and it just feels really good, you guys. There was also a Facebook page that I checked out quite recently, actually. It's called We're Not Drunk, We Just Have MS. And I was like, oh my god, oh my god. This literally is like... I feel like even for the days I can't walk properly and I'm just like dragging my feet across the floor, I feel like people look at me like I'm drunk, but I'm not drunk. I've never been drunk. And it was just really crazy. So that's pretty much it to my video. Thank you guys so much for the support. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Check out my blog. Follow me on Instagram. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. Ugh. My button just popped off. Okay, I'm not even fat. Okay. Anyways.